Okay, I have to give my 2 cents on this. And I'm really getting tired of this crap. I'm really, truly getting tired of this. Because you have people out there, whether it's on Twitter,
Twitter's not a real place.
you have on Twitter, you have them on Reddit, and Facebook and Instagram, and there are people going around making up lies that they're trying to get clicks to favor them on these sites, and basically they're being stupid. And you have points where you look at some of the things they're saying, and this is the major thing. And this is why the big fight, when the UN says they want to ban anime because it's child pornography, and what Australia has done, what Russia has done, and what other countries have done. Not realizing is that what they're banning is just stories. Yes, out there are some creepy ones out there, but they're not in the mainstream. These are underground videos that shouldn't see the light of day, and I agree with that. But this is not what you're seeing here. This is anime, manga. This has been around for many, many years. Nobody had a problem with these at all. These stories, the content, they said, well, it's gotten worse. No, the stories have gotten better in the last couple of decades. You can go back all the way back. I've been watching anime since the 70s. Okay? I watched it on Nippon Television on WNJU, channel 47 here in New York City. That's when I saw it. Every Saturday night when I was a kid, I would tune in on that. No, I did not speak Japanese, but it had subtitles on there. I watched Ikusan and Galaxy Express 39 and many others that were shown on here. As we got through into the 80s, we started to see much more with American firms and independent network stations looking further into there to buy cartoons for their channels. You've had Speed Racer, Battle of the Planets, Star Blazers, Robotech, and many others. And then you got to the Toonami era with the Dragon Ball and the Sailor Moon and all that. And nobody had problems then. Just in the last 10 years, we've seen many anime get dragged under the truck several times on there for no reason whatsoever. You can go back to, say, Goblin Slayer. You had that situation where they said, well, they the girl in there, but you didn't see it happen, number one. And it was the only episode that had something to that nature. Yes, it was mentioned in other episodes that this is what goblins do. Goblins are evil. They're creatures. They could, end up eating you, ripping you apart, and that's what you saw in this anime. And then, you had the Shield hero. He had a slave. He's in a fantasy world. This is what they do. And the thing is, he was fed up. You had a character who was fed up that he was betrayed. He was Me Too'd in that world. And it was all lies. Nobody discusses that basically his character was Me Too'd. Falsely accused by the princess. Okay, he was falsely accused. And then basically they told the kingdom the whole thing. So it left him totally alone. That left the only option for him because someone came across and says, listen, this is what you can do. You can train someone to help you, but this is the way you have to do it. This is how they came across. Now, recently, you have season 2. You got one girl who wants to be trained, and she said, "Listen, this is the only way it's going to happen," and she put the slave crest on herself. You know, can't get mad on that. This is part of the story. Yes, I understand that you didn't like the. You had redo of the healer, which, yeah, it was over the top. There was a lot of issues on there, understand?
Now, I'm afraid there's going to have to be a certain amount of violence. But at least we know it's all in a good cause.
But remember what the story is. This is a person who himself was was enslaved, was tortured, attacked, kept on a leash in all situation. He goes back in time to basically get revenge on and fix what has happened to him. Yes, okay, I understand he's not doing the right way, but that's part of the story. Revenge stories are always this way. It's never clean. And if you go back and look at the history of film alone, American film alone, you don't even have to do Asian, you don't have to do Russian. History of film itself has been riddled with similar stories of this nature. I mean, you could look at movies like Miss 45, Deliverance, Death Wish, I Spit on Your Grave. I mean, there are various films throughout. I mean, I'm just only taking the 70s alone on that. I mean, there are other films that are just similar to this anime. Now, the main controversy I want to discuss at this point is...
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
There is an... If you haven't been under a rock, there's a great anime out right now. It's Spy X Family, which is right now currently. You can watch it on Hulu currently, or Crunchy. I think it's Crunchyroll has also the rights as well. Or you can go to the High Seas. Basically, this is a story about a top agent who has been assigned to get at a particular target. Unfortunately, this target is never out in the open except during school events of his child. So the only way to get into this level is to have a child of his own in this school and to play the parent. And the whole thing is that he ends up getting a child and he ends up getting a wife. And it turns out that the wife is an assassin, high-paid assassin. The child is a psychic. She has psychic powers on there. And it turns, the mayhem ensues in itself. We've only gotten a couple episodes in and it's been great so far. Now, one of the scenes in there, and this is where it comes in, is... the main character picks up the child, holds her up in the air, and she gets a little flustered and blush on there. And someone online, and please, if you know who this person, do not. Actually, their site has been cut off. Basically, they shut it down. But if you ever deal with people like this, don't deal with them. They want the attention. But they said this was sexualizing a child. How so? Fathers pick up their sons and daughters in the air because they love them, they care for them. This is caring for a child. This is showing the love for their child, holding them, bringing them close to them. This is not sexualizing them. This is where we've gotten to the point in this society that basically, and this is why organizations like BLM, they had it on their site on that. They want to get rid of the nuclear family.
Stupid! Stupid!
This is the nuclear family. Understand this. This is, mother, father, children, grandparents. I come from a large family, a very large family. I mean, now these days we're not as large as we used to be because most of our elders have passed on from this life, but we have new generations growing up in this time period, new family members. And you have to understand, when you have a family, a large family, we're close-knit together. And that's what it is to be a family, that you're close-knit. You go places, you have fun, you have dinner together, you have breakfast together, you take the kids to school, you go on vacations together. And I'm certainly showing a lot of these young people, and I know those of you who are out there who are very intelligent in this age group understand. And if you come from a single family home, and I'm sorry that you went through that, you shouldn't have never have gone through that, because having a mother and father around you is so important. It's so important. Raising a child, having a child, a child growing in the womb of a woman, very important. This adds to your life, to your lifespan. One day you will not be here, but your progeny will continue on. Do you understand that? And this is what they don't understand. A lot of these activists and people out there, they try to push these agendas that they push sexualization. I mean, the person who wrote this literally just got bombasted right off Twitter for this, for that reason, because that was the stupidest thing ever. I mean, you hear situations of that nature that, God, go watch an old commercial from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s when it comes to families. Coke commercials, Pepsi commercials, cereal commercials. I mean, you have the family unit, and that's important. All these activists that they tell you, you don't need them. You don't need a father. All you need is to be born, and that's it. That's what, when they talk about what they're talking about these days is the problem.
Man's a communist. They should be discharged immediately. Never mind how I know. I just know, that's all.
They have no problem teaching children, kindergarten to third grade, all this sex and everything on there. They have no problem with that. But when you see a scene where a father and daughter, and the thing about it is, it's not a natural born, it's not his child. He adopted this child. But he's treating her like a daughter. And probably for the first time, because when you hear the story of this girl, that she's been adopted out and been thrown back into the orphanages because of her quirkiness on there, and she's seen for the first time that someone at least takes a moment to care for her. Of course she's going to have feelings on that. Of course she's going to be blessed, because she's not truly felt these feelings. That you have to understand. And I'm hoping that this progresses further into the story, because basically this is such a good story so far. But you got people that are going to ruin it. It's the party poopers.
So who are you, man? Shit!
I'm the party pooper.
This is what these people want to do. They want to spoil everybody else's enjoyment. This is why, we were underground for quite some time with anime. People made fun of us. In the 70s, in the 80s, in the early 90s. We were made fun of. They're like, oh, look at the junk you're watching. Why are you still... You're a teenager. You shouldn't be watching cartoons. You're an adult. You shouldn't be watching cartoons. Well, anime is for everybody, whether you're a child, a teenager, or an adult. There's a story out there for everybody. I think there's There's a golf anime coming out this season, and there's a couple other sports ones that are coming out this year. We had a great cosplay one, which had people were throwing controversy on that one as well. My Dressed Up Darling, which was phenomenal. I can't wait for season 2. I generally wouldn't catch something to that nature, but that was such a rich and enjoyable show. You know, and then you have Mushoku Tensei on the other hand as well, which is also a well-crafted show, good voice acting, great storyline, and still people criticize it because of some of the content that's in there. You have to understand one thing. Be aware, out in the world, things happen. Some are nice, some are horrible. Some people will put it on paper. Some people will put things on paper from their own life. Understand that. These are the stories you hear. There's a hot tub, and I want to talk about that one eventually. There's a complete anime on Netflix that is dedicated to bathhouses and hot tubs. Go figure that one out. I think it's Thermaroma. Figure that one out. So my word to the persons who like to continue to talk about how sexualized Spy X Family is, shut the fuck up and move on with your life. You don't like it, go watch something else. Leave us the fuck alone.
Fuck you.